After 14 years, Brother Mark was still alive and well and doing great work in the world to save it. And I was determined to annihilate him. In 1976, at the age of 17, I made this profound decision to join a Catholic monastery of religious teaching brothers. And within a short amount of time of joining, I was given my new name in the monastery, Brother Mark. I know. I used to think you got this new name in the monastery to stand for like a new life, but now I understand differently. You get this new name in the monastery, so decades later, you could spend thousands in therapy trying to figure out these identity issues in your life. At any rate, shortly after I took this name, I made my solemn vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience forever. Fast forward to 1990, I had been living for the last 5 years and working at the Brothers Mission Schools in Lima, Peru. And I wanted out. I wasn't miserable. I just knew I wasn't living an authentic life. I was a deeply, deeply repressed gay man. Really extremely far into that closet. And there was no way I was coming out until I didn't have a vow of celibacy. I kept channeling the words of Horton, not the saint, the elephant. And I kept saying, I meant what I said and I said what I meant. Brother Mark will be faithful 100%. And I just wanted out. I kept saying this mantra over and over to myself. Not another day of Brother Mark. Not another day of Brother Mark living a lie. Not another day of Brother Mark not being true to who he is. Not another day of Brother Mark. I screwed up enough courage, petitioned Rome, and received and was granted a dispensation for my vows. I quickly packed my bags in Lima, Peru, took the plane to New York City to start my new life. And the brothers had given me $450 and a new suit, and that's it. I know, even Maria von Trapp got the damn guitar out of her deal. It was amazing. But I started looking for work, and I was coming up short, nothing. Finally, a nibble. There was this Boston-based nonprofit that was coming to New York City, and they were looking for a regional director. They were going to work in public schools with kids, teaching peace education and nonviolent communication skills. And I figured, I got this. This is Brother Mark without the celibacy. I could do this. I got it. And I got really far into the interview process, get right to the end. And the boss, the president of the agency, invites me in for one last interview. And he says, Richard, we are now down to crunch time. It's between you and one other candidate, and that other candidate is a woman. Most of the schools in New York City have principals who are women. Richard, you are not a woman. And I thought, damn, I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job. I know my male privilege has gotten me really far, further than I deserved in my life, but the buck was stopping here. So I figured go out with a smile on your face, maybe a joke, a little bit of frivolity. So when he looked at me and he said, Richard, you are not a woman, I looked right back at him and I said, well, not by day. And I got the job. I got the job. I got it. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. He kept introducing me around to people on the staff, the DOE, funders, and he kept saying, we're so honored to have Richard Cardillo on our staff. He's an out and proud gay man. And in the evenings, he does drag. I had become a drag queen. Well, about a month after that, he wanted to invite me out for a very formal celebratory lunch. And he still had this inordinate fascination and curiosity with this drag part of me. And he wanted to know more and more. So he said, so Richard, when you do this drag, where do you perform? I said, oh, here and there in the East Village. Do you put on like wigs and dresses? I said, oh yeah, a lot of wigs and dresses. He said, do you put on makeup? And I said, oh, a whole lot of makeup. And he said, well, I'm dying to know your drag name. And I said, my drag name? I don't have a drag name. That morning, I had gone for my first physical stateside after coming back from Peru to get everything checked out. And I was at a local hospital in the East Village where I had moved. And I'm looking at the lab reports, fiddling, and I still had the hospital bracelet on it. And I said, my drag name? I'm Beth Israel. I'm Beth Israel. And Beth Israel was born. Well, this took on a life of its own. It was out of control. Now he starts telling people Richard Cardillo, a.k.a. Beth Israel, is going to do this great drag fundraiser for us, and it's going to be fabulous. And I was dying, and I looked at the trajectory of my life thinking, how crazy. Just a few short months before, I was a vowed man living in a monastery. I then come to New York, and I'm an out and proud gay man. And within days, I'm a drag queen. I didn't want to know where that next chapter was going to lead at all. But I finally came to that ugly realization that not another day Brother Mark had been annihilated at the beautifully manicured hands of Beth Israel. I'd like to think that I never had to annihilate Brother Mark. There's parts of Brother Mark inside of me today that I love, and I want to be in there. My love of humanity, my love of people, my sense of social justice. That's part of Brother Mark that stays alive inside of me today. And I'd like to think I save a little corner of my personality for that dazzling and witty Beth Israel. But not by day. Thank you.